Does a film's quality really matter all that much when Apple are the ones funding it? They have so much money that I say let them throw shit at a wall and we'll see what sticks. Maybe we get something genuinely exciting which justifies the whole experiment, but at the bare minimum you can expect to find yourself with an occasional outlier that other studios would never create, such as The Killers of the Flower Moon. This is also the case with Argylle, the latest Matthew Vaughn film, which fails to be a good movie, but was still a great deal of fun, provided you're interested in an anarchic, comic book style spoof of the spy genre. Everyone is dialed in and working their hardest to make this picture sing, but it's ultimately not very good for a few simple reasons. Argylle is 10 to 15 minutes longer than necessary. The third act is a mess that needs to be reworked. The marketing was misleading, and Bryce Dallas Howard shouldn't have been the lead. The runtime and third act are intuitive criticisms, so let's just put those down to trust me, bro. The marketing and Howard can be dissected in greater detail, though. So I'll start with Howard, and then you can all call me a misogynist, and we can move on to some of the compliments, because there are strong elements to the film. Consider Gina Davis in The Long Kiss Goodnight. This is a film and character which Argylle is referencing, as Howard's Emily Conway goes from goofy recluse to hardened killer. Except at no point on the killer end of the spectrum is Howard believable. She was the wrong woman to play the lead, and it's obvious the moment you look at her. Now, I think she's attractive, and I don't mind a big ass. No sir, I do not. But the notion that she could move with speed and ferocity is ludicrous. Now, Argylle is a ridiculous film in the fun, suspend disbelief, good sir, I do pray. But there's a point at which it starts to ruin the fun, and that occurs when you can clearly see the change from Howard to a stunt double because of the size differences, or when CGI is necessary to make us believe that she is moving at anything above a snail's pace. Davis, on the other hand, could play the comedic moments in The Long Kiss Goodnight and the action moments with ease, as she has the athletic build which could make you believe she were a trained spy. And in real life, she was able to compete for a spot at the 2000 Olympics in archery when she was 43 years old. She didn't get in, but she also only started training 2 years before tryouts, so you get the picture. Some women are more believable in an athletic role. Simple. You could have gotten Rachel McAdams, for instance, and seen her play up a mix of her work in The Wedding Crashers and True Detective Season 2 to achieve the same outcome here. The point is that Howard doesn't work. Sorry, it is what it is. While you shouldn't expect believability from a comic book type film, it is stretched to the point of farce in this case. Finally, I'll just say it, and then you can all call me a monster. No one wants to see Bryce Dallas Howard as an action hero. She's barely a movie star as is. You'd be better off giving the money to charity than casting her and thinking you'd turn a profit regardless of her size. Again, cut the crap and face reality. Jurassic World was a hit for everything other than her role in it. Secondly, here's a poster for the film. Who do you think is the lead based off this? Not Cavill, of course not. It's Howard and Rockwell. Fine. But at least we have an ensemble cast to watch, except no, unfortunately Jackson, Leaper, Cena and Du Bois are in it for 5 minutes in total, with O'Hara and Cranston having even bigger roles than Cavill himself. Talk about a bait and switch, Apple. So of course people coming in for an action comedy with a believable heroic lead are going to be disappointed. Now on this point it must be said that I do wonder if Cavill is cursed. Did he piss off a witch or desecrate an Indian burial ground? Something happened to fuck with this guy's career, I'm sure of it. He is literally built to perfection for so many roles, and he can genuinely act. Not necessarily Oscar-worthy stuff, but perfect for the types of films he wants to make. And yet, he keeps finding himself in crap like The Witcher and Argylle where his strengths are wasted. All they had to do was make Argylle a Cavill-led film where he's a corny spy who does silly adventures and you've got a hit film. The haircut alone is ridiculous in the best way possible, such that it'll make anyone grin at the sight of him. There's literally nothing more required. Maybe get some halfway decent CGI as well because that stuff was lame. But again, hey, you get the picture. It wasn't as hard to make a hit as people think. The plot involving the writer who is a spy writing top secret knowledge into her books just cluttered everything up with garbage. We all loved Cavill in Mission Impossible Fallout because he was shepherded under Cruise's strong overarching vision. So maybe he just needs someone like that to help him out. Either way, the dude always ends up looking foolish because he's the best thing amongst some very mediocre stuff. Okay, it's done. I've said my criticisms. Now we can move on to the compliments because I'm not a total asshole. Vaughn knows how to make a kick-ass action comedy sequence, and we get several in Argylle. The train battle at the 20-minute mark was a delight and gave me everything I needed to be able to say with confidence that I could have fun with this film. That trend continues throughout Argylle, including a ridiculous and very acid, trippy third act romantic bloodbath which had me cackling. Don't take Argylle too seriously, but treat it with enough respect that you demand some competence. That's the fine line they needed to walk, and unfortunately they failed too many times for this to be a good film. But again, when I say it's a fun film, I do really mean it. Just let go of expectations and roll with the energy Vaughn is playing in, and you should find yourself grinning from ear to ear at some point and thinking, okay, fine, yeah, I could go along with this. But it still won't justify seeing it in theaters. Certainly on streaming down the line, though. Another strength is every other cast member brought their best, in particular Sam Rockwell, who starts dancing at the 44-minute mark for those of you who need to know if he'll dance in this film. I believe he actually does so 3 times, if I kept count correctly. Rockwell is a delight and reinforces the idea in everyone's mind that you can trust him to be lovable and psychotic in just the right measure to play a comedic killer. A real highlight were his instructions for how one ought to crush the skull of an incapacitated assailant. Alongside this, his chemistry with Howard was note perfect, and so you can appreciate how the two feed off each other's energy and vibe throughout the picture, even if you're disappointed that this isn't really the movie you were hoping for based on the marketing. Cranston and O'Hara were fantastic psychopaths as well, though their role was very much a show up for the check and relax, it'll be over soon kind of performance that demands very little. Howard handles herself well during all the comedic moments where she needs to play Emily Conway, so credit where it's due. Her work as an assassin and spy was as discussed, and I won't flog a dead horse. It's Samuel L. Jackson who steals the show as per usual, but this time with barely 5 minutes of screen time. He proves once again that he is such a superstar, as he literally can't help but be charismatic and likable with so very little dialogue. It's a real talent. And for those long-time fans of my videos, all 2 of you, and one of them works for the government, note the stock ticker at the 1 hour and 22-minute mark. Top center of frame, whatever. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I do know. I don't know. Fuck off. I'm going to stop here because really, Argylle is a silly movie that doesn't need much else by way of discussion. Go watch it if you want to imbibe of some vices and trip out a little. Or don't. Whatever. It's subjectively fun and objectively mid, and I doubt we'll get a sequel. But hey, Apple can afford it. Thanks so much for watching.
Oh, my